Welcome to T-Boys TV. We are back again with another Hatter Show, obviously episode 215. And obviously in this one, we will be getting into obviously the Swansea game, which is obviously on Saturday, 3 o'clock kickoff. That's very rare for us nowadays, especially this season. Saying that, we have got a lot of them coming up, but we'll be getting into that. And then obviously we will be getting into the Stoke preview. Obviously I will have a Stoke fan with me for that. And we did do a video on his channel as well, which should be out tomorrow morning. So check that out. It's more so, my thoughts on Luton as a whole this season, really. So it's quite a good chat earlier on today that we filmed. But yeah, it's just me today. My dad's not on this one. But he has given us, his man of the match and his score prediction. So obviously, when the right moments come to mention them, I will mention them. So yeah, man. Shout out to everyone. Yeah, we got the dog. Shout out to David in the chat. Love the dog. Yeah, got a dog next to me. Cameron, the second dog to have an appearance on the channel, I think. Yeah, Bailey obviously being the first. So yeah, it's one of them, innit? One of them. We're here, and we're here to talk about Luton, obviously. Good evening, everyone. Hope you're well, T. Yeah, I'm good, thanks, David, mate. Hope you're well. Yeah, man. I mean, other than Luton being so bad, I'm all right, mate. To be fair, I hope you're all right as well. But yeah, let's get into it. So just me, like I said, the Swansea game. Now, going into it, I wasn't confident. I did actually get the score right. Line up, you always look at it and there's one thing that he goes with, which I don't agree with, especially in recent games. For me, well, Jordan Clark still being in. Yes, he was good against Norwich in the sense of his tackling and stuff, but his awareness is poor. For us, if you're going to play him in centre mid, I just don't get it. Put him as a cam. It makes much more sense to do that. We know he's more attacking-minded player, but when you put him in central midfield, you never know what you're going to get. It's like I say, week on week. He's very inconsistent. He's very hit and miss. But obviously, he was in. Obviously, Holmes was in, which was good to see. Bell was in. McGuinness, Kaminsky, obviously. Hashioka on the right wing back. Good to see that. It's good to see that we didn't do no stupidness like put Chong as a wing back again. Moses was obviously on the left. Again, you want to see Bell higher, but it is what it is. Krause, Nakamba, and Clark, like I said about Clark. It was quite interesting to see Krause and Nakamba because I want to see them a lot more together, but not really at home. It's more so when we play away. Why are we not doing that in away games where we're playing great teams like, Middlesbrough and Norwich? We're playing attacking-minded midfielders. It's crazy. And then obviously Morris and Elijah up front. So, obviously there's them few shouts. I think I might put Brown in myself. But yeah, there's them few shouts. Do you put him in ahead of Elijah maybe or Morris? But obviously we went with the original front two, I guess it is. As for the bench, Kaminsky, that's the starting lineup. Anderson, good to see Anderson on the bench. Brown, Chong, surprisingly, Chong was on the bench, to be fair. Johnson, good to see him back on the bench. Krul, Ruddock, Nelson, also good to see him on the bench. Taylor and Woodrow. So, a few youngsters on the bench. Obviously, that's due to the injuries. Obviously, they were playing in development games and under 21 games and stuff, over the last couple of weeks. But it's good to see them in, especially Nelson. Well, I like them both, to be honest, but especially Nelson because, I thought when we had him, he's more of a sort of player that only really plays up front. But obviously, you've seen for Luton that he's played a lot of different positions. Burnley, opening day of the season, whether you agree with it or not, he played as a central midfielder. He's played as a cam a few times. He's come on, played as a wing back, obviously against QPR in the cup where he scored that spectacular goal. So, he's got that versatility as well. To be fair to him, he's still got a lot to learn, obviously. And then obviously Johnson. I felt he's been a bit harshly criticised by some fans, to be honest. You've got to remember the guy's, what is he flipping? He's 18 years old. Do you know what I mean? Like, come on, like, you can't blame him on the Burnley game. A lot of people say, oh, he's awful in that game. He weren't the only bad player. There was like one or two good players that game. It was Baptiste and someone else, but I can't remember who I said it was at the time, in my personal opinion. But, it's good to see them in, especially the fact Rob Edwards said, again, another thing he said, that he's going to try and utilise the youth team a bit more. And to be fair to Luton, it has got better over the last couple of years, I feel. there is a lot of players that do come through that actually do get in the team. Obviously them two being the standouts. Obviously, you've seen Francis Clark on the bench every now and then. Especially a lot of these players in the Premier League. Yes, that was due to injuries, but still, you know that they are going to try and bring something if they have that opportunity. And to be fair, the youth team, from what I see, they're doing all right. To be fair to them, so yeah, man, it was good to see them two back on the bench. But yeah, shout out to Jackie in the chat. She says, "Hi T Shambles. It's not going to get better by the looks of things. I really want Edwards to go now. New life and positive attitude from a new manager." I totally agree. It's like Mike said. And he tried to beat Rob Edwards in as long as he could. And even he was saying, you don't see where it's going to get better. And I totally agree. Because one game is going to do something we don't agree with every single flipping game. And again, I think I heard something earlier. If any of you guys know, obviously correct me in the chat. But I'm pretty sure if we lose tomorrow, he'll have the same record in the opening games. I know we're sort of quarter way through the season now, but as John Steele did in the sense of the losses, I believe, or something along them lines. And we sacked him. Do you know what I mean? And if he comes to the football club like he did at one point 2 seasons ago, at half time, we give him the applause because he started, where we are today. Getting that rise back to the Football League. So, at the end of the day, I think Rob Edwards has took us as far as he could. But personally, and a lot of outsiders look at it and they go, "Oh, yeah, but he got you to the Premier League, rare tear tear." Yeah, he had half a season, mate. And he literally said it when we went up. He inherited Nathan Jones, way. He stuck with it. The only thing he changed was, we kept the ball on the ground more and it weren't long balls and stuff like that as much. But you know, in the Premier League, you can go on about, oh, we had injuries and all this. The fact and the reality is, we didn't stay up, and that is the aim. Of whatever league you're in. Yeah, if you're a newly promoted team, your aim's to stay up. If you don't do that, it's failure. I'm sorry, it is. Yes, we done better than people expected, but in the end, we didn't stay up. So, yeah, I have to agree. I agree with you, Jackie. I agree with you totally. And I think there's great managers to go out there and get right now. You've got Mark Robbins, who, in my opinion, was harshly sacked by Coventry. One I've always wanted, Steve Cooper. I said that even before. I'm pretty sure when we were in talk before we got Rob Edwards, me and my dad obviously done a hat show on it, and we said we would take him. I'm pretty sure we did on that stream. Look at what he did with Nottingham Forest. They were near the bottom of the table, or they were bottom of the table, and then they bounced up and obviously won the playoffs in the same season. Now, I don't think we would do that personally, but we could definitely get right back up there in the conversation where we should be. Going into this season, minimum should have been playoffs. Our aim. We kept the core of the squad that was in the Premier League. I don't want to hear about the players that were going to go because they were always going to go. Barkley literally said it. I don't know why people even go on about Barkley because he literally said it a few weeks before. My main aim, I want to play in Europe, but my main aim is to stay in the Premier League with Luton right now. He's always going to go. A player of that quality. We were fortunate to have him. Yeah, fair enough. We got him for free. We saw that. The scouting team done well, etc. But, we're fortunate. We won't have a player that good for a while. I'll tell you that. As for Lukonga, obviously, again, another good player. Obviously, he weren't as good as Barkley. He had a few more injuries, didn't he? But he was still very good for us. Berry, I don't want to hear that. I love Berry. Well, I did love Berry. I still like him. But at the end of the day, he wanted first team football starting, and he weren't getting that at Luton, and he wouldn't get that this season. I'm sorry, he wouldn't. It's just a fact of the reality. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, man. Rob will cost big money to get rid of. Shout out to yourself as well, Ed. Then you have to bring someone else in and more money. We haven't the personnel on the field. This is not all on Rob. No, I have to agree. There is a large part of it that is on the players. I do think, a lot of them were trying to get a move. Obviously in the summer. But there is things he does in games that you have to go on. Yes, it was individual mistakes against Norwich and it weren't good enough. However, why are you putting Chong as a wing back? Me and my dad, the amount of vlog from homes we done last season, right? We love Chong because he's direct, he drives at players. He's probably the only player other than maybe Moses that does that in our team that I can think of. Maybe Brown, you could add to that, but again, the way we play with strikers, you like him to hold it up. Um, he's good at driving at players, but he's not strong enough on the ball. And I'm sorry, that second goal we conceded against Norwich, that's schoolboy stuff, mate. Yeah, you get told to hold him off. It's as simple as that. So I have to agree, it's not all on Rob. It's not. But, he does have to take the blame as well. And especially in the way he was in his post-match in the Middlesbrough game, come on, guys. Like, why didn't we just push the button then? It basically sounded like he wanted to go. And again, I know it's because of the payout, that we're going to have to pay. But yes, majority of us were happy, when he signed that contract because how well we were doing. Yes, we didn't stay up, but we done better than people thought. But it is risky, when you give a manager he ain't got a lot of experience, guys. Like, let's just be honest. As a manager, he's not. And I don't want to disrespect the guy. I want him to do well, but I can't see where it gets better, guys. I can't see it. But yeah, as I was saying, I swear the guy was a defender, and we can't defend for crap. Where's that type of Blackpool performance? Yes, we had Nathan Jones at the time, but where's that sort of fight? Do you know what I mean? Blackpool were awful that year. I think they got relegated, but they give it a go, as you would expect at home. They have their chances, but we defended so well. Anytime we defend now, we're all over the place. We're all over the place. It's too easy. Oh, it's just frustrating repeating myself week upon week. But I do agree with large parts of what you say. Shout out to Bailey in the chat. Big up to yourself, mate. Jackie says she'd love Steve Cooper. Yeah, exactly. Like, I think he was harshly sacked by Leicester. I think they should have given him a bit more time. I do think they are making a risk. Obviously, I know this ain't a Leicester show, but I do think it's a bit of a risk them taking Vodvan Bistroy, however you say his flipping name. At the end of the day, he's had a few good games from Man United. It's like when Man United got Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. I think you're risking it. And if they don't stay up, what are they going to say then? Yes, the great comeback against Brighton. But the fact and the reality is, you're taking a huge risk, is what I'm trying to say. Great player, but it don't matter. Manager and player are different things. He might do well, but I do think it's a risk. No, he won't because of that. No, I know that. But I would love it. I would absolutely love it. I think it's very underrated. I remember when my dad made that joke when we went on the preview with Daw on tour when we drew 2-2 with them. He said, best looking manager versus the worst. Shout out to Steve Cooper. I think he's a good manager, man. Like, even when he done well with Swansea, didn't he? Did he get Swansea playoffs or just outside, didn't he? And they didn't really have a great squad that season, in my personal opinion. So yeah. Bailey also says Barkley's a good player. He's quality, mate. It's quality. For you guys to only get him for 5 million, that's a bargain, really, in my opinion. I haven't watched Villa religiously, but when I have watched Villa and he has played, whether he's started or come on, he's done really well. He's starting to get a few goals as well for you guys, which is great. So yeah, man, good player. Got nothing bad to say on the guy. Nothing bad to say on the guy. He did say he wanted to watch us play Watford, but obviously you guys were playing Fulham that day. But yeah, I know he always respects the club because he sees it as how it is. We did give him that opportunity to get his career back up and running. So yeah, man, no bad things to say. Ain't nobody like Ross Barkley. Trust me, we ain't getting a player like that for a very long time. I'll tell you that. Evening tea. Hope you're well. Yeah, big up, Lewis. I'm all right. Thanks, mate. Hope you're well yourself. You reckon if you lose versus Stoke, he'll be gone? No, guys, because I keep saying this week upon week. For me personally, he should have went before the Watford game because you had an international break. You had 2 weeks. It was perfect timing. I thought we'd lose to Watford, like majority of Luton fans, because obviously we don't like them, but they are doing well this season, much better than people thought. And we just didn't have any confidence. Because I think, the last game was that Sheffield United away game, and that was a disgusting performance. That was absolutely disgraceful. And again, some of the in-game management, well, the lineup. Why are you putting Jordan Clark up front? The guy's not even tall. Like, I think that game he put Real Walters left wing back as well, or something like that. It was, mate. It was just so lackluster, and that's what every single away game, bar Millwall for probably majority of the game, every single away game has been like that. And Millwall, we were fortunate to actually win that game anyway. If we didn't have Kaminsky, we would be in the mud. And I'll tell you what, if Kaminsky gets a decent offer in January, I would go if I was him. You know, obviously I've got a mate, Darth Vader, shout out to him in the chat every now and then. He don't rate him, which is quite interesting. That's an unpopular opinion, but it is his opinion, so he's entitled to it. However, I do think his distribution can be worked on. As every game, I think the other day was the first time he didn't actually kick it out from a goal kick, out for a throw. But his shot stopping is unbelievable. His shot stopping is worthy, in my opinion, of playing for a top half Premier League team. So yeah, do I think? No, I don't think he will, mate. Because I just know what we're like, innit? It's like, when are we going to do it? The payout. If we didn't give him that 4-year deal, then he'd probably gone sooner rather than later. But again, like I say, I think he'll be on the same thing as John Steele if we don't win tomorrow. And he got sacked. And he comes to Luton now and everyone loves him. Rightly so. Rightly so. I love the guy as well. Obviously I was a bit younger, but I know what he's done for the football club. And he got sacked. Do you know what I'm saying? So that's how I see it for Edwards. Like, yes, you got us up in the Premier League. You made history. You're the first manager to take us to the Premier League since it's been called it. But I don't think he can take this team any further, personally. I think he could be a great manager in the future, but he's got a lot to learn. I think his man management is really good. Obviously he's had to deal with the Lockyer situation twice. And obviously, other bits. But as an in-game management manager, not good enough, in my opinion. So yeah, man. If Rob goes, would Nathan Jones ever be accepted back? Would you have him back? It's a difficult one because people ask me this. I would take him back for his sense of the ruthlessness and the way he don't take BS, basically. But his tactics, let's be honest, guys. Not this season, obviously. Well, at the start of the season we said it, but the way the season's going, we want to be back in the Premier League, don't we? And his style of play, is that going to take us to the Premier League? I'm not too sure. But we'll take him back for his ruthlessness side of things. It's very rare. It's like I said to Mike in the fan cam that we did against Norwich. It's very rare that we lose games back to back under Nathan Jones. And if we did, he would call players out. And I don't like players getting called out directly. Like, for example, when Troy Deeney, he's a knob, but when he done it with Dabu, is it? Obviously the player that missed it against us. I didn't like that, but I like it in a way where it's not necessarily a certain player, but you call out the players. And I like that from Rob Edwards in the Norwich game. However, he has to still take part of the blame, because why are you putting Chong as a wing back? The guy's not strong enough. Yeah, he's brilliant going forward, driving at players, and he's got good pace and stuff like that, but he's not strong enough. The amount of times he got bodied off the ball in the Premier League, and people go, yeah, but it's the Premier League playing better team. No, it don't matter. It doesn't matter, mate. Yeah, the fact and the reality is he needs to be stronger on the ball. So yeah. If Millwall was the only Libs this season so far, I can't really remember the day, but yeah, obviously I did a watch along. Obviously Mengi scored a great goal that game, but even that game, yes, we when you look back at it, that is a good win because Millwall are actually doing well since then at home. However, it weren't great, was it, guys? Like, we were fortunate to get a point, to get a win. Sorry, could have been a point, could have even lost. Let's be honest. Kaminsky with 2 world-class saves at the end of the game. So, that's the thing with us as well. I wouldn't mind. I get the Championship's relentless. You play a game pretty much every week and weekend. I get that, but it's the consistency that's the problem, right? If we play crap but consistently win games 1-0, 2-1, whatever, I don't care. But we're not doing that consistently. The only time we've done that consistently this season was when we beat Millwall away then Sheffield Wednesday. But the Sheffield Wednesday game worked great. And again, that's what will get us over the line at times is that quality of that depth in the squad. And that is the game that defines that, that game. So yeah, man. But yeah, no, it's been a good chat, guys. But yeah, let's get into the Swansea games. Obviously, the first half, again, guys, I thought it was a similar sort of games that we've had at home, really, in it. First couple of minutes, they have chances, a bit too easy for them to get in behind at times. Obviously they had that chance, didn't they? Good opportunity for them, but we did score. We did start to grow in the game. We did obviously score. Elijah, you have to give Elijah a lot of credit. I do think he's been one of the better players for us this season. I have to give him massive credit for his relentlessness press. Now, again, a few of you might go in the comments, yeah, but you said about dropping him and that. That was just because of like the Morris situation where last season in the Prem, he got dropped, rested, whatever you want to call it. And then he come back, he come on from the bench and he looked like a threat. That's the same thing with Elijah, and especially with how well Brown was doing. That's why I said about doing that. But really tight angle, to be fair. And again, capitalised on their mistakes. Same thing like the Norwich goal. Very similar goal in that sense. Not necessarily the finish, but the way he's, won the ball off them. And yeah, it was really good. Really good goal from Elijah from that angle. And I'm happy for him. I'm happy for him because we know he's a confidence player. Obviously, he's, yet again got racially abused this season, which is absolutely disgusting. They're not Luton fans. Trust me, they're not Luton fans. Idiots that do that are not Luton fans. Yeah, they're probably idiots that jumped on the bandwagon when we were in the Premier League last season. Get in the bin. Yeah, ain't got time for that. But yeah, good that he got the goal. And then, it was a half where, I don't know, I still felt we weren't going to win the game, guys. I'll be honest. We were decent in the first half, a lot better in the first half than the second half, but still weren't great. We'll dive straight into the second half. Typical, isn't it? We love conceding goals like that. No one marking. You look at Norwich's fourth goal, Signs, player of that, on that fight, on fire like that, is what I tried saying. Scoring a goal unmarked. Grimes, who can strike a ball, done that. Great finish by Swansea, but poor defensively. Edge of the box, no one's marking him. Crazy. And again, the amount of times we've been caught out, awareness, marking, it's not been good enough. The Norwich game, the first goal, clumsy at the back. Clark should have been better on the awareness. People blame Kaminsky. I don't know what else you really think he should do from there. He's tried to punch it away. We should have dealt with it after that. The guy got man of the match in this game from people in the stadium because he's kept us in it. And that's not good enough. Like, let's just be real with it. Swansea, yes, they're an established championship side. They're not, no disrespect when I say this, but they're not like a newly promoted side like a Portsmouth or anything, even though they've got a very good win. And they might actually go above us if we don't win, and they do. But, you look at it and you think, well, it's not good enough. It's like even when we played Hull, who were rock bottom, by the way, they were, at home, we were on the ropes against Hull in the last, 10, 15 minutes. Like, it's not good enough, guys. And in the end, after that, we were quite fortunate to not lose the game, in my opinion. Obviously they had some great chances. Kaminsky with some great saves. But guys, it's just a repetitive story. I knew it'd be this type of game, and I just expected it really, to be honest. So not really a lot else to say, really. Just going to the player ratings, I guess. But yeah, man. Shout out to Ed. Go through some comments before we do that. Cheers, T. Need to go into work. Keep it up, bro. You're good at this. Yeah, nice one. Appreciate that, mate. Appreciate that. Thank you for tuning in, man. Do appreciate that and enjoy work, mate. Big up to yourselves. And I will answer this quickly. I don't know if you see it, but you might watch it back. Who would you bring in? The thing is, I don't know who I'd bring in personally, but at the end of the day, I'm not scout. Do you know what I mean? What we need, though, what I will say we need, Taylor ain't staying at the football club. He's going on loan with an option to buy, or he's going permanently. So, you need to replace him. it's out there, so I'm just going to say it now. If you haven't heard it, then fair enough. This will be the first time you hear it. Apparently, Lockyer's coming back in the new year. It's out there, so I can say that. Um, so that'll be 25. Say Taylor's still here for now, right? So that's 25. Take Taylor out, it's 24. I think we need to get rid of Woodrow. I don't know what he offers to the team anymore, right? Times he comes on, he either gets a yellow card or blazes it over the bar. And I've got high expectations for him, like I say, guys, because at the end of the day, he got labelled as the best finisher at the club. Yeah, best finisher at the club, and you miss a penalty against Hitchin and some Ukrainian team I've never heard of in pre-season games. And people might go, "Oh, it's pre-season." Well, our pre-season was very telling this season, wasn't it? Because it was a very repetitive story. We played Dundee United, right? It was not great, but let's just be real with it. 2 goals against us, and we had a decent team out that game. We had Kaminsky in goal as well. Even when we played, I can't even remember. We played one of the teams, didn't we, and lost 2-1. You know, good enough, guys. So it is telling sometimes. Look at Hull's pre-season as well. I know that it might change for Hull because they've got a manager now, a new manager. But look at their pre-season. Their pre-season was very telling as well. They were conceding a lot of goals. Pre-season, people say it don't count because they don't count as points or whatever. But I think, the more you look at it, they actually do sort of say how your season's going to go, especially on them basis of what I've just said, ours and Hull's. Very poor pre-seasons. Let's just be honest. Again, I do think we were a bit slow in the market. I know, teams were trying to charge more price on players than they should. Hence why we got McGuinness for around about 10 million with the add-ons. With the 6 million with 10 million add-on. Sorry, with more, which made it 10 million. That was a panic buy, let's be honest. I think he's all right. I don't think he's as bad as people have made out. He has had a few wobbly moments, but I think predominantly aerially he's very good, whether that's attacking or defensively. But yeah, that was a panic buy. Let's just be honest, because we had to get a defender in. I don't know what happened with that other defender that we were meant to get in. What happened there? Yes, it was good that we brought in Moses, the experience, but we haven't really been able to utilise him like we'd like to, i.e. higher up the pitch, not as a wing back. And he probably will play as a wing back tomorrow. So yeah, guys, overall it wasn't a great market. And again, I know they were trying to charge extraordinary prices, but we were slow on our business. Which we're not really slow on our business a lot. Look at the Premier League season. Look how many T-Boy discusses I was doing day upon day, pretty much. You know what I mean? So yeah, man, we need to do a lot in January. If we're serious, right, we'll do a lot of business in January, and we'll have to get rid of players because, like I say, there's rumours that Lockyer's coming back in the new year. So that's 25, right? And then we have to get rid of players. Taylor will go loan or permanently, loan with an option to buy. Or you go permanently. For me, Woodrow needs to go, so we need to get a striker in. I don't know who goes in the midfield. Who goes in the midfield, guys? Because people say Ruddock. Well, I don't know. I just think it's Ruddock's last year, innit, really? So, I don't know. I just think he'll stay. Clark's one of his favourites, so he ain't going nowhere. Who else? Kraus is on loan. Nakamba, we definitely ain't putting him out anywhere. It's difficult, guys. Walsh, he's injured. Baptiste, he's injured. What are we doing? People say the youngsters, but the youngsters won't matter because they're part of the under-21 category or whatever it is. Do you know what I mean? So I don't know what we're doing, guys. Defensively, who can you see going out alone defensively? Maybe Holmes, but he shouldn't, in my opinion. I don't know, man. It's all interesting. Maybe one of the keepers. I could see that. But then again, if Kaminsky goes, then we're going to have to sell the bigger names, but Mengi ain't going anywhere now because he's injured. Kaminsky might go somewhere. We're going to have to get rid of some of the the bigger names, as you would say, as well. So it's all mad, man. You all right, mate? Yeah, I'm good, thanks, Billy. Hope you're well, mate. Good to see you in here. But yeah, like I say, let's get into the player ratings. for this game. So obviously Kaminsky in goal. He got man of the match at the stadium. He's not quite my man of the match, but I understand why he got given it because he, prevented it from being a loss. But yeah, he's not quite my man of the match, but I thought he was decent in the game. My dad did give him man of the match, so I'll add that onto our voting thing that we do throughout the season, which now has put Kaminsky on 5 votes, which has put him at the top of our thing that we do. So yeah, obviously joint top with Baptiste and Doughty. But yeah, Kaminsky's now 5. He's not quite mine, like I say. Do obviously put your ratings in as well. I am going for Kaminsky. I'll just go over 7 because, like I say, he's not quite man of the match. We can't blame him for the goal. It's a great finish. We should have done better defensively. Yeah, again, guys, how many times do I say we can't blame Kaminsky for the goal? It's a joke. Like, I feel sorry for the guy. I really do. If I was him, if we get a decent offer in January, I'm gone. That's just not good. That's not good at all, Billy, mate. But yeah, moving on to the next player, we will go over to Bell. Now, obviously, he come off injured. A lot of people are saying it's because where he was playing, you're not utilising him properly and stuff like that. I mean, for me, it's not even that. It's just the fact that, last time, when we had the last international break, he played back-to-back games for Jamaica, 90 minutes. Jamaica's not flipping down the road, is it? Do you know what I mean? He's playing constant games, comes back in for Luton, plays a full 90 minutes. He's always going to get injured. This international break just gone, he was in America. Not down the road, is it? And it was sort of inevitable, really. I was surprised he lasted as long as he did due to that. But yeah, as for his rating in this game, I think I'll just go with an average 6, to be honest, guys. I can't really think of too much right or wrong from him. But yeah, glad that you're good apart from that, mate. But yeah, moving on to the next player, McGuinness. Again, he's been getting a lot more criticism, similar to when he first joined the club. Again, I don't think any of the defence was really good in this game, if I'm going to be honest. So again, I think I'm going to go with another average 6 for McGuinness. Moving on to Holmes, I do feel out of the lot, he was the better one. I do feel in the first half he was good. And he reminds me of Lockyer in phases. Obviously, got a similar hairstyle. And also just the way he is. He's quite physical. He's quite, big guy and stuff. And I felt he was the better defender out of the 3 for us. So I'll go slightly higher for him. I'll go 6.5 for Holmes in this game. Nice Mackey's breakfast. But do you know what? What is your go-to on a Mackey's breakfast? Go on, let me know that, mate. And see if it's the same as mine. But yeah, I'll say Holmes was a slightly better one, like I say. Moving on to the next player, we'll go over to Hashioka. Not a great game compared to his previous games where he stood out a lot more. However, you could probably argue in the last month he's been one of our better players, especially the way he's come in since that Watford game and, been immense. Should have started against Leeds. Wouldn't have made a difference. I still felt we'd lost the game, but, the only right wing back of the club and you don't even put him there. Obviously with Walters being out anyway. So, yeah, I mean, he was okay in this game. Not too great. 6.5 for me. Similar hairstyle. Yeah, man. Come on. It's not even that. It's just he's similar in ways. Like, not quickest player, but he's very good aerially. Got a similar sort of build as well and stuff like that. But yeah, moving on to the next player, Moses. Moses is actually my man of the match. Now, I thought in this game, I have questioned him defensively because that's not what we want him to do. But with where he's been playing, even when he's been coming on in games, starting from Plymouth away, he's sort of been as that wing back, hasn't he? So I can definitely see it tomorrow. But I thought in this game he was actually pretty good defensively. Good tackles, very good causing a threat going forward. And I was really impressed with him, actually, considering he was in that wing-back role where it's sort of utilising him, I think that's the right word, to not do what he wanted to do. So for me, he's my man of the match. Based on that, I'll go to 7.5. I won't go too high, but he is my man of the match. which gives him another vote for this season. He's now got 2 votes in our thing that we do. So there we go with that. And then moving on to the next player, we'll go over to Kraus. Again, I'll be honest, guys, right? When I was watching the game, I thought his passing was terrible. I'll be honest, guys. I thought his pass. There was a moment where he passed it to Hashioka, and he was like trying to moan at Hashioka. I was like, no, mate, he ain't getting to that. You can't blame him for that. But his interceptions were really good. His tackling was really good in the game. His aggressiveness, in a good way, was good in the game. But it's just his passing which let him down when it comes to the rating for me. So I won't go too low, but I've seen much better from Kraus, I'll be honest, in this game. So I will go with a 6. And this one, I do want to know your ratings, guys, because I don't know. I don't know if I was watching a different game to people, but Nakamba, right? A lot of people said he weren't great in the game. I actually thought this was one of his better games for us since he's come back anyway. I thought his tackling was good. I don't know. What was I missing out on, guys? Like, I don't know. You lot the same? Was he good? Was he bad? I don't know. I think he was actually all right, to be honest. I thought his tackling was good. Maybe his passing weren't great, but overall, I don't think it's as bad as people are saying, personally. Just my personal opinion. Yeah, I don't think it's terrible in the game, so I'll go 6.5 for Nakamba. But I'm quite curious, actually, to see what you lot think. Because, like I say, a lot of people saying he was poor. I remember going on the Luton, I think it was the Instagram at half time, and someone was like, is he playing for them? I was like, what? I thought he was all right, personally. I don't know. Maybe I'm watching a different game, but I thought he was all right. Moving on to the next player, Clark. Again, I just don't know, man. I don't. Like I've said, going into this season, I thought he'd be a lot more of a makeshift player. I didn't expect him to start as much as he has. And yeah, I don't know really with Clark. I mean, I'll just go over 6. I don't think he should be starting, but it's one of them. Yeah, it's an interesting one. And then moving on to the 2 strikers, we'll start off with Morris. The thing with Morris, right, is I think his passing in the recent games has been way off. Like it's been terrible. But his leadership skills are really showing. Look at the Middlesbrough game, yeah, whatever, he got a yellow card, whatever. But at least he was showing passion and he was shouting at the players like, come on, what are we doing? He should have started that game anyway. The Norwich game, obviously, the moment with Kaminsky, where obviously he was telling him to get it up there and stuff like that. That was good from Morris. But I do think, he does need to improve his actual game. It's all well and good having the leadership, but you need to improve the game a little bit. Obviously he's had a bit of a goal scoring drought now. The last time he scored was Coventry, which was, a day after my birthday, which is 2 months ago. You know what I mean? So he needs to get that goal for confidence. But I don't think he was terrible in the game, so I'll just go 6.5. And then moving on to Elijah, again, you could argue he's one of the better players. Obviously, that relentless press, got the goal, very well taken finish, capitalised on their poor mistakes as well. And again, that's why I don't like the passing round the back nonsense, because Norwich did the same thing. We exploited it, yeah, whatever, they beat us. But again, you're not going to keep clean sheets playing football like that. Swansea did the same thing. We capitalised on it. And I've said that so many times when I've watched games, it's going to be a matter of time in a certain game until Elijah will do that. Because, like I say, he's relentless when it comes to the press. And a lot of teams just play this passing round the back rubbish. And yeah, he capitalised on it. Tight angle, done well to put the finish in. So again, Elijah, one of the better players in the game for me. So I will go over 7. And then moving on to the subs, obviously only made 2 subs. Jacob Brown, obviously come on. He tried like he did, or like he does, sorry. So, but not too much. It wasn't quite like a Watford game where he scores. So I'll just go with an average 6. And then Anderson, it's a weird one with Anderson, right? Because the last couple of times he's come on, especially the last 2 times, obviously the first time was Plymouth away, obviously this season, and he looked like he couldn't walk. He looked like how Elijah did when we played Huddersfield in the second leg of the playoffs, or obviously them seasons ago. And I don't know, Anderson, I wouldn't say he looked like he couldn't walk, but he looked in this game, he just was a bit sloppy and all over the place. And again, that's obviously match sharpness and that to a certain extent. But again, some of the stuff he was doing, especially when you see him in the Premier League last year, how composed he was up until he got injured. It was weird to see, if I'm going to be honest, from him. Like, I don't think he was great in the game. And again, I know it was only 9 minutes left that he come on with, but there was two little sloppy bits, and you were like, "Whoa, what's going on there?" Um, so for me, I'm actually going to give him a 5.5 because, like I say, you come on, you have them errors. I think one of them nearly led to a goal as well. It's not great. And again, I love to see him, come on in games, maybe he can stake his claim at some point. But playing like that, he definitely won't. I'll be honest. Um, but yeah, it's a weird one. It's like, are we rushing him back? We do that with other players, and they get injured. Baptiste being one of them. So yeah, man. But that's my rating. So again, like I say, but don't give it to Kaminsky, man of the match, like it was in the stadium. As for me, I give it to Moses, who is very good in that wing back role, like I say, especially defensively. You know, he's more of an attacking minded player, isn't he? So I felt, he'd done pretty well defensively, to be fair to him. Previous games he's sort of been done defensively, but again, that's because that's not where he plays. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's my overall thoughts really on the Swansea game. Overall, well, I said a 1-1 draw, didn't I? So I expected it in that sense. But yeah, the performance still not good enough. And again, yes, the weather was terrible, but it's terrible for both teams at the end of the day. Do you know what I mean? So I don't really want to hear all that stuff as well, if I'm going to be honest. The fact and the reality is we're not doing good enough this season. We're 2 points off relegation, like being in the zone. Portsmouth have got 2 games in hand. I know one of them games is definitely at home. I think they both might be. They just won 3-0 against Bristol City, who are decent. Um, first team to beat Norwich at home in a year. And obviously I've said what I've said about Bristol City this season. Beat them 3-0. QPR won 3-0 against Norwich as well. No one really expected that, let's be honest. And Plymouth have got a game in hand at home, and at home they're good, so I don't know, man. I don't know how long we wait until we push the button. But a large part of why we haven't, in my opinion, is because of that 4-year deal. So yeah, that's what I say. Like I say, I want the guy to succeed, guys, but I don't see where it's getting better. I really don't see where it's getting better. You can blame injuries, you can blame this. The fact and the reality is, yeah, he's putting players in position. Every game, he's putting at least one player in a position that he just shouldn't be in. Clark got suspended. For me, if you get suspended, unless you're that much of an influential player to the team, which he hasn't been this season, yeah, he's got a couple of goals, whatever, but come on, guys, lucky goals, let's be honest. The Watford goal, it was a deflection that he got. And then the goal we scored against Middlesbrough, the keeper should have saved it. Like, let's just be honest. So for me, it's one of them where I look at it and I think to myself, he got suspended. He shouldn't just be able to come back into the team like that. If he got a silly yellow card that he shouldn't have got, and you know what the officials are like, then fair enough. And then had to deal with that ban and then come back in. But he's not been good enough for me. I expected him to be a bit more of a makeshift player anyway, going into this season, like Ruddock has been, for example. So yeah, that's my thoughts on Swansea. Very unlucky for them not to win. I did see some of their fans paid £900 to get an Uber because obviously the trains were obviously getting cancelled and stuff like that because of the storm. So credit to them guys. They'd have been very happy at that point. They'd have been the happier side, even though they are above us. You could see at full time they were the happier side with that, and fair enough. At the end of the day, we should be doing better than we are, and they will take that. It's like I said going into it. Start of the season, we'd have looked at this game as 3 points and nothing else, really. Let's be honest. So fair enough to them. Fair enough to them. Is what it is. But we not good enough again. So that's that when it comes to that. But yeah, moving on to obviously the game tomorrow. It is a double header for us, obviously, this week. We do obviously take on Stoke at home. Now, interesting games against Stoke over the years. I've actually been to the last two at Kenilworth Road. I will not be going to this one, but I've been to the last two when they beat us 1-0. I can't remember who scored for them, but I remember going to that at 3 o'clock Saturday. It was awful from our perspective anyway. And then obviously the 1-0, which was another Saturday 2 seasons ago. Pelly Ruddock scored. I think he scored quite early in the game as well. And again, from our side of things, it's one of them games where, it wasn't a battering, but we looked very dominant and we looked like, very good. Obviously, that season, we were much better away from home. But that's the thing, guys, that's what I am expecting from us this season. I know we're not a team that really blows teams away. Even when we went up, the season we went up, we just have comfortable, controlled wins. And again, I know, the championship is a lot more tighter this season than it was the last time we went in. But like I've said, guys, we kept the core of the squad. The players that were leaving were always going to leave, and we're still not doing good enough. So, yeah, it's one of them really where I'm just looking at it and I'm disappointed because, they said at the start of the season, Rob Edwards and Jordan Clark, I think, the aim is to win the league, and the fact is we're not. We're nowhere near it, guys. We're 2 points off relegation. We ain't winning no league. And I knew at the start of the season we weren't going to win the league anyway because I didn't think our squad was up to that level. Obviously, if you watch my championship predictions, I said we finished 5th. And even then, I had a bit, obviously me, you know me, I'll say it how I feel. But even then, I was a bit skeptical about it, I guess. Because there's a lot of teams as well that showed more ambition in the transfer window for me, especially, Sheffield United, definitely. I don't really rate Wilder, but when he's got that squad that he has got, and he has been there for as long as he has, yes, it's been back and forth, but he has been there enough to know what the club's about and what their identity is and what they want to do, their structure, etc. I knew they were still going to be up there. Burnley, yes, they haven't looked as good as people said, but again, they lost a lot of players and they're still up there. They don't. I think they've only conceded like 6 goals this season. In fact, I'm going to double check that. Obviously, in the league, it's something crazy like that. Let me just double check. 7 goals now, sorry, because obviously they conceded the other day, didn't they, to Middlesbrough? But 7 goals they've only conceded. Like they'll still be up there because of that. Obviously, you've got Leeds. Now, Klopp now has a say. Obviously, part of the Red Bull thing. So I think that they'll definitely go up. And I also think that it's similar to what we had the season before in the sense of you don't win the playoffs. You have that extra motivation to go there and do it next season. I don't think they'll go up in some sort of way, whether that's playoffs, automatics, or winning the league. That one of them 3. So I knew them sort of teams would be up there. I said all of them to finish above us, but we should still be, up there, really, guys. Majority of people now I am seeing are Edwards out. But there is a few that are just trying to hold on to stuff. And again, I want the guy to succeed. He's a really nice guy, down to earth guy. You can tell. But as a in-game management manager, you don't know. I'm sorry, you don't know what you're doing. You just don't. So, yeah, man, that's what I think on it, really, when it comes to things like that on it. And, yeah, you can tell we had a lot of conversations with Pep last season. You really can, especially the way we were trying to play like Man City as well. David says, I say we will finish just outside relegation, but I predict us top 6, and now I think that I'm delusional. Exactly, bro. Like that should have been our aim minimum. Like, let's be honest. And I have to agree, mate. I have to agree. It's just not. It's not good enough, is it? Really? Like, I'd understand it a little bit more if we lost a lot of players. I would understand it a bit more because you have seen teams struggle that have come down from the Premier League. Sunderland. There's a few others, but they're the ones I can think of from the top of my head. I think he'll stay till Christmas. Yeah, I mean, people ask me, like, obviously I've been asked today, and I've just got to that stage, guys, where I don't even know at this point. It's just like, how long do we actually leave it? You know, do we have to be rock bottom? I don't know, guys. And we could be, we could be. I'm not even joking, guys, because like I say, Portsmouth got games in hand. Plymouth have got a game in hand at home. Hull have got a new manager. I think he'll be in for the Watford game. So, that's a good opportunity for them. New manager bounce. Even though Watford are doing all right, they are away, which they are not great away. And Hull are at home. So, I don't know, guys. It's not looking good. QPR obviously won as well. Good win. So, can they capitalise on that? We shall see. Big up to Spencer in the chat. Hey, T and all. Good to see you, mate. Exactly. Exactly. But yeah, it's just frustrating. It's just frustrating. But we have obviously got a guest. We have obviously got Sam on. First time on the channel. It's been a long time coming. Obviously, we tried it last time. But obviously, it was couldn't really quite do that. But how are you, mate?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. How are you?
Yeah, all good. Other than obviously my rants about my football club at the moment. But other than that, in general, I'm all good, mate. I'm all good, and it's good to finally have you on the channel, man. But how are you feeling? Without giving your score prediction away yet, how are you feeling going into tomorrow's game?
I think for both sides it's similar. The similarities between how Stoke season's gone compared to how Luton season's gone. I mean, obviously different circumstances, but it's one where you need the win. You get the win, and you know what this could be for Luton. It could be one that turns the tables, and there's a kind of bit of a confidence and a momentum going into the festive period. But that's the same with Stoke as well. I think if Stoke can grind out a win away from home, down south where Stoke don't really do too well, that could be a season turner for them as well. So I think it's not must win, but I think a win could do something massive for both sides.
Yeah, I totally agree. And it's like I said earlier, there's this stat. If we don't win, I think we have the same record as we had as someone called John Still, who was very good at the football club, and he actually ended up getting sacked. And if he comes to the football
Mm.
club tomorrow, for example, at half time, we'd still applause the guy because he was a massive part of where we've got to now, being back in the football league and obviously having that rise to where we got to. So it's one of them where I just, like I say, for Rob Edwards, I don't see where it gets better. And again, not all of that is on him. It is on the players. They do have to perform better. But again, like I say, there's things in games. He always puts a player in the lineup that he shouldn't. Whether it's in the wrong position or not an ideal position, or Jordan Clark, for example, he's one of my favourite players. I'll never forget Wembley, for example, but he should not be playing as much as he is, in my personal opinion. And I know a lot of you agree with that in the chat. So it's one of them. But when it comes to a bit of insight going into this game, obviously, we sit in 18th. If we did win this game, we could maybe go up to 14th. And that's the thing with the championship. And that's why I say about getting a consistent run in. You get a few wins, even if they're not convincing. You can shoot up the table, especially this year. What I've noticed is a lot of the teams are on a lot of the same points at this moment in the season. So it's an interesting one. As for Stoke, obviously sitting 15th. If they do win this game, they they'd probably go up to 14th, depending on what Coventry do. Obviously, their goal difference is not as good as Swansea's as it stands. So probably won't go above them, but a draw could even take Stoke up to 14th, depending on what obviously happens with the Coventry game. As for us, we could go up to, 17th really with a draw. So at most, depending on what Preston do. So yeah, it's all interesting. Um, Luton Town have won 2 of their last 3 games against Stoke City, losing 1, as many victories as across their prior 18 such meetings combined, which was 3 draws and 13 losses. Stoke City have lost just 1 of their last 7 away league games against Luton Town, winning 4, draw and 2. Though that sole defeat did come on their last such visit, obviously, like I said, 1-0 to us when Pelly Ruddock scored. Luton have only won 1 of their last 7 midweek, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday league games, drawing 1, losing 5. Though that was their last such match, obviously, where we beat Cardiff 1-0. Stoke have only lost just 2 of their last 9 midweek. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday games in the Championship, winning 4, drawing 3, and are unbeaten in all 4 so far this season. And then the last one on this section, the side scoring first won each of the last 6 meetings between Luton, 2 wins, and Stoke 4 wins since a 1-1 draw in February 2020. So overall, like you say, don't travel great down south, but when it comes to us, it's a pretty decent record, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, you were on about it earlier about that. The last 2 games that when you went to them at Kenilworth Road, obviously, and Panzu scoring the one before. The one before that, where you said you're not sure who the scorer was, it was actually Jacob Brown, which was
Oh,
is quite funny. And I was somehow they came up on my highlights, and I was watching him, and then it was a lovely finish from Jacob Brown, and the kind of finish that Jacob Brown scores just in general. He's in the right place at the right time, working hard, and gets the goal that he deserves. So yeah, Luke. Tomorrow, I don't know how the game's going to go. We said about it early on the match preview that it's one where could it be a goal fest? I doubt it. It's probably going to be not the most entertaining game, but it's one where both sides just need that win. Do you know what I mean?
mm. Yeah, no, absolutely. And it's one of them as well where, you say about Jacob Brown scoring, I didn't even notice him. And obviously I was there, but it's one where we do that sometimes. The player will score against us and then we'll try and go out and get him. And obviously we done that. And so I know quite a few of your fans were gutted when he went. But I'll be honest, like I said on your channel, I didn't really know of him. I'll be honest, before he come to us. But what I have seen of him, you guys will know. Obviously, I rate him very highly, and I know, like you say, he's always working hard. He's always got that determination. And there was a stage where I was saying put him in there ahead of Elijah this season because whether he was starting or not starting, he was working hard. And again, like I say, Elijah does with his relentless press, but Brown was adding the goals, whereas Elijah, it took him a bit of a while, like it does in a lot of these seasons. So, yeah. Um, yeah, I mean, a lot of people say this. Liverpool, I've got a soft spot for him due to my granddad, who I never saw, was a Liverpool fan. So I always have that soft spot. But Luton is my main team. I've always, when I was younger, even though I weren't really into football, my dad tried to get me into it like they do. And we lost, I think we lost to Blackpool on a penalty shootout. And obviously I was young. So I was like, I'm not supporting them no more. And then I went to my uncle's a week later and they're all big Liverpool fans. And then, yeah, I found out more about family that were Liverpool and stuff. So Luton is the main team, but I do have a soft spot for Liverpool. So that's that when it comes to that. Maybe it could be coaching staff. Yeah, again, there's a lot of things. There's a lot of factors at the moment. And I said it on your channel earlier, about that situation when it comes to stuff like that. Why are we getting as many injuries as we are? It's crazy. Like, even in the Premier League, we're putting on 16-year-olds on the bench, because of the injuries. And, it is worrying, to be honest. And again, I don't know how true it is, but when Dan Potts was at the club, I heard a fan that spoke to him said, what's going on in training? And he says, we're so ruthless in training that, we get injuries left, right, centre. And obviously, he didn't play a game in the Premier League last season because he was injured the whole time, which was gutting because, again, he's obviously been one of them players that's part of that rise. So, yeah, and it's a weird one, isn't it? Because it's mainly the defenders for us. It is worrying, to be honest. So, yeah, a few people putting their score predictions. Obviously, we'll get into ours a bit later on in this stream. But yeah, what we're getting to now is we'll get into a bit more of the insight when it comes to a bit more on Stoke and stuff like that and the referee and stuff. So we are obviously back-to-back home games. But as for Stoke, obviously their manager took charge in September for his first head coach role in English football, following stints in the coaching setup at Huddersfield Town and Norwich City. Picked a starting lineup which had an average of under 23 in their defeat at Sunderland, which was their fifth game without a win. It was unfortunate end to Stoke's visit to the Stadium of Light as a deflected winner in the 86th minute from 18-year-old Tommy Watson handed the high-flying Black Cats their victory, first victory since October. After picking up 3 points since their last win at Blackburn in November, they head to Kenilworth Road, currently occupying 15th place, like I say. Last time we met, obviously, the Pelly Ruddock goal, like I say. And then, obviously, the referee in this game will be Tom Neild. Now, obviously, if you guys remember, the last time we had him was that Sunderland game. Obviously, there was the controversy on the goal, in my opinion, that should have stood, the Morris goal. And obviously, him and the linesman, obviously, we're very disappointed with them, to say the least. And again, even though we didn't win that game, I felt that was a better performance. That and Watford have been the only good performances, really, if I'm going to be honest, throughout the season. So, yeah, we just got to deal with it, and we got to do our thing. At the end of the day, and that's perform better. Will that happen? I'm not too sure. But we shall see. But your lineup, Sam, that you think it'll be for you guys going into this game?
So you know what? It's a real tough one. I'm not gonna lie. If I'm being honest, I did it for my channel. We've seen North's Palace go to a 5 at the back, like obviously Luton do, in and out of possession, or a 3 at the back. I'm going to go for a 4-2-3-1 in this one, just kind of simplifies it out. So do you want me to read out the whole team I'm going to go for, or do you want me to break it down?
If you were the manager, do what you would go for.
So the team I predicted, which is a little bit of a tough call, gone for Johansson in goal, who's been our shining light, one of the top keepers in the league.
I think he would be the top two, I'd say, in the league.
Trafford, aren't you, and all that lot. But Johansson, that Blackburn game, if you literally whack the highlights on, it is superb. He's been our signing of the summer and the player of the season so far. So back four, I'd go for Ender Stevens if he's fit or fully fit, Ashley Phillips and Michael Rose, and then Junior Shamadou as a right back. Then Valterberger and Tatsuki Seko as your double pivot. Andrew Moran ahead of.
Oh, sorry, I had a bit of a lag there.
No, it's all good.
Did you read it all out, or was it a certain bit you got to?
Yeah, no, I read it all out. Do you want me to go again?
Yeah. Apologies about that.
No, it's all good, mate. Don't worry. But yeah, so Johansson, back four of Stevens, Rose, Phillips, and Junior Shamadou. It's more of a 4-2-3-1, but it can kind of be 4-4-2 out of possession. So double pivot of Valterberger and Tatsuki Seko. Andrew Moran ahead of him, who's on loan from Brighton, with Badron Ho, Luis Kumas either side of him, and then leading the line, Stoke's top scorer, which is, of course, Tom Cannon.
Yeah, Tom Cannon, he was a player we were rumoured to be looking at, actually. But I think Leicester, there was something about 7 million or something. And I think we weren't offering to, offered to do that, basically.
Yeah.
So that's quite interesting. But I'm quite curious to know, what's Kumas been like? Because isn't he on loan from Liverpool?
Yeah, it's tough because in that in that team that I've just said, you leave out Million Man, who's a fantastic individual. He's someone that gives you that moment of brilliance. I just think maybe having him off the bench and Kumas starting could be something different. Now with Kumas, you've got Badron Ho, Kumas, Manuf, and Vidigal, who's your wingers. And it's been Kumas as of late, the one who's been on the bench and making sub appearances. I think he just needs to run of games. We've seen moments of brilliance from him. There was a lovely goal against Bristol City. I think he just needs a little bit of run of games. He works hard, he runs his socks off, and he does this high press that Palach wants. It is just a case of give him a run of games, especially on loan, show him what he's made of. And I think he's a young player who's going to make mistakes, but is also a very, very good quality player that's got a lot of potential.
Yeah, that exactly. Yeah, like you say, loan players, you want to utilise them as much as possible. You do want to get to that stage where you don't want to, as they say, fall in love with a loan player. But yeah, like you say, what I have seen of him, he's quite direct. In ways, he reminds me of Doak. who's obviously gone on loan to Middlesbrough in the sense of, he's
Hmm.
very direct and they're quite similar, aren't they? In that sort of sense. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's all interesting when it comes to that. But yeah, lineup that Charlie's gone with. Obviously, I'll get into ours in a second. Kaminsky, obviously he's gone Mengi. Well, I think that's Mengi anyway. Obviously, he's out, mate. Got the operation. Mark McGuinness. I've got to try and work out the initials here. MA. MA. Who's that? I should know who that is. Oh, Anderson. Of course it is. Chong, Moses. So you're going Chong as a wing back by that, I think. Moses, Clark, Tom Krause, Morris, Eli, and Brown. Yeah, that's the thing. A lot of people have gone with Brown in a three. Oh, I don't know. I just don't. We don't really play like that. I know, there was question marks that we did against Norwich. Potential 4-3-3, but as the game went on, you could see that it wasn't. So I just don't know. I can't really see that. We don't really play with players out wide like that. We usually play two up front or one up front. But mainly now two up front with a cam. So I'm not too sure when it comes to that really. But yeah, as for my lineup going into this game, I have gone quite interesting in this game when it comes to it because I want to start playing a four at the back, but with the injuries that have obviously come out today, again, not positive, you sort of have to go over back three for me in this game. So for me, I have gone with, let's just get it, there it is. Let me move myself so you can actually see me. So obviously Kaminsky in goal goes without saying, got man of the match the other day. For me, despite the position we're in, he's one of the best keepers in the league, in my opinion. The amount of games he's prevented it from being worse, or even us getting a result due to his performances. The back three, I would love to have put Burke in or Bell, but obviously they're both out. So I've gone with Holmes on the left, McGuinness in the middle, Anderson on the right. Like I say, Anderson weren't great the other day, but who else are you going to put in? I don't want to put Hashioka in right centre back. Right centre back, or Moses there. So I've gone with that. Hashioka as a right wing back. Again, has been one of our better players. So I'll go with him there. He's the only right wing back that we have at this moment in time. Moses on the left, like I say, he done very well as a wing back the other day, in my opinion. Man of the match for me. So, stick with him there. Midfield, I've gone Nakamba and Krause. Again, a lot of people said Nakamba weren't great the other day. I don't know. I think he was decent, to be fair. One of his better games since he's come back. Krause, you have to put him in. As much as I think, he worked great in the other day in the sense of his passing. He was very aggressive in a good way, and we need that in a game like this, I think. And then in front of him, I've gone Chong. Didn't even come on the other day. What a surprise that was. Surprised that he didn't start, but then the fact that he didn't even come on either was a surprise. And then up front, I've got Morris. Again, large part of that is because he's the captain and we need that leadership. I don't really see where else it comes from. Maybe Kaminsky, but I like it from an outfield player, especially with how we are at the moment. Kaminsky don't need to be a captain. He's preventing it from being more, and we just need more up front and stuff like that, or higher up the pitch, I'll say. And then I'd go Elijah. Now, I wouldn't put Brown in. I'll bring Brown on. If Elijah didn't score the other day, then I would have put Brown in for this game, especially being against his former club. But for me, I'll give him a run out in the second half at some point going into this game. That's what I would do when it comes to that. So I'll go in with the back three, but that is because of the lack of options that we've got at the back, and also the fact of what I have seen from Moses in the last game. I'm quite confident to put him as a wing back after that performance. So yeah, that's that when it comes to that. The final bit of this, score predictions. Now, given by what you said earlier, Sam, you don't think there'll be a lot of goals in this one. Can you pick a winner in this one, or do you think we'll cancel each other out?
It's tough. I mean, 1-1. If I look at it and I think, depending on how the game goes, before it, will I take a draw right now? I don't know. Away from home, in maybe a game where Stoke maybe don't even deserve it. Of course, I'd take a draw, but I think nothing against Luton, and it's the same for Luton. The game will be there for the taking. It's neither side that are in form. Neither side have a fantastic home record or away record. I think it's one where there's no real confidence in either side. There's obviously confidence in individual players, but neither side's in form in that sense. So I'm going to go for a 1-0, and I think it'll go either way. It could be Luton get that 1-0, that kind of last ditch goal, maybe a moment of brilliance. That maybe is how the game's taken. But I am going to stick with my boys, stick with the boys, and go for a 1-0 to Stoke. I think just Stoke, like Luton, do have key individuals, but I just feel like someone like Manu, who could come off the bench, could be the difference maker, and it's a hard fought away win that hopefully boosts Stoke's season.
Fair enough. Yeah, as for me, again, like I say, it's quite difficult to separate the teams because we're both quite similar in the sense of, obviously on a bit of a run where we're not looking great. Obviously, it's been a while for you guys since the win, and as for us, even when we win, it's just not convincing. So they basically feel like losses still, even when we win. So it's getting that consistency for us, but I don't know. It's one of them games where I think it could be quite similar to the Swansea game, where we both have moments in the game and we both do score. I was thinking of saying a 1-0 to you guys, but I'm going to stick with a 1-1. It's very hard for me to not back us to score, especially at home. But it's defensively where I do worry, especially with the players that are not available on top of that as well. So I'll go over 1-1 draw in this game when it comes to that. So yeah, but again, thank you, Sam, for coming onto the channel. Just let the people know where they can find you.
So it's Potter's Pundits. Just two words, Potter's Pundits. I promise. Yeah, I mean you can check it out if you want. It's on TikTok, it's on YouTube. Most of the time I predict the starting 11, get it totally wrong, but it's all it's all a lot of fun. So yeah, just check it out if you want, mate.
Yeah, don't worry. I always get my lineup wrong as well because Rob Edwards loves to do this madness sometimes. But yeah, like I say, guys, I couldn't quite put it in the title, but it is in the description, that channel. So do go over to it and obviously do subscribe. Like I say, tomorrow morning there should be a preview out that we obviously recorded today as
Yeah.
well. So check that out, guys, and everything like that. As for the game tomorrow, like I say, I'm not going to it. Content, I'm not too sure, guys. I'll be honest. David's going to give me an answer. I don't know if he's still in the chat, but he's going to give me an answer whether he can do the fan cams. But obviously, if he can, then obviously there'll be content after the game on instant thoughts. Obviously, Mike will be on that. You know what it's like now. You get Mike on it, and he says it how it is, and then it's doing well, isn't it? When he's discusses it so far, so he'll be on it. David might do one himself. I'm not too sure yet. But yeah, I won't be there. So yeah, that's that. And I probably won't be doing a watch long. So yeah, that's that when it comes to that. But big up to everyone that tuned in. And as you can see, there you go, guys. There's your update. He says, I'll let you know tomorrow as Dad will give me updates. Yeah, no worries, mate. No worries. Just let me know. And then yeah, I can put it out on the community post along with when you upload that video, Sam. And I'll promote that as well. And obviously check that out as well, guys, when that comes out. But yeah, big up to everyone that tuned in. Like I say, obviously do smash a like if you haven't already. Do obviously subscribe to the channel as well. I've already got 50 views on this, guys, and I know a lot of people watch it back on playback as well. So that's good for a live stream. Do appreciate that. That's not a watch long. Obviously, do subscribe to the channel. Like I say, follow me across all my socials as well. Obviously, links to them are all in the description. Like I say, subscribe to Sam's channel as well. That is also in the description. And yeah, until next time, which will be Friday, we'll do it all in one, and then we'll dissect. Well, actually, no, I might do a reaction separate. Tell you what, I'll do a reaction tomorrow as well. And then what I might do is just do a player ratings on Friday, and then yeah, I should have a Blackburn fan on for that game as well. So yeah, we'll just get into that. We'll do the player ratings. I'll get into that separately. So yeah, I'll do a reaction tomorrow to the game, and hopefully David will be as well, and Mike. So yeah, stay tuned for all of that, guys. Big up to yourselves. Take care. Peace.